West Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't agree with that.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
I love you, man.
God help us.
I want to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
7 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Tuesday, July 1st, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned in to the Jeff and Bill Show. News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights, hottest takes from the right, left, and center. Colorado's blue, America's red. It all meets right here on the Jeff and Bill Show, where you're invited to be a part of the conversation. Coming up after news and comment, we're going to talk with Scott Wilder. Scott's part of the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews on how you can provide some emergency essentials to Jews in Israel facing the onslaught of these attacks taking place from both Hezbollah, Hamas, Iran. How do they all withstand it? Most importantly, how can you support our friends in Israel? It's going to be a very important conversation. Let's quickly go to the phone lines. Adam, Denver. Good morning, Adam. You're on with Jeff and Bill. What's on your mind?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, good. Good. What a beautiful day in Denver, huh?
Yeah, what's on your mind, Adam?
Well, I'm a leftist. I'm calling to, help you guys get the record straight. I'm presuming that you're misrepresenting me and lying about my views pretty much 24/7.
Okay, question, Adam. Do you think it's just about you, or is it about leftists? And if you're saying presuming, does that mean you don't know?
Well, I don't listen to this corporate propaganda. You guys are corporate propagandists.
Well, then hang on. Then how come? Hang on, Adam. How come you're calling in to correct something that you're not sure that we're doing? Aren't you the one making assumptions? Adam, aren't you the one making assumptions?
Did you call Zorhan Mamdani a communist?
Yeah.
No, I did not.
I did.
You're a liar. Did you call him a communist? Someone said yes.
I did.
Whoever said yes is a liar. You are a liar.
Doesn't he want to have to go the means of production? Didn't he just, I saw some quotes out there, he wants to go after the means of production.
No, he wants to raise taxes on top earners 2%. That's not communism, you idiot.
Could both things be true, Adam? Could he want to raise the top tax rate and also want to take control of the means of production? Could both things be true at the same time?
He has not thought about taking control of the means of production. You people are liars.
Hang on.
You are fear-mongering liars.
Adam, hang on a sec. My partner said one thing about communism taking over the means of production, and you turned to taxes. And I asked if both things could be true, and then you go back to the means of production. So my partner, Jeff, says that he's said that he's taking over the means of production. You say that's incorrect. We will see if we can verify if he has any... we will see if we can verify that. Let's ask.
Jeff, cite it. Cite what you're saying. Where did he say he wants to take over the means of production?
So here's the New York Post. Zorhan Mamdani's chilling call for seizing the means of production.
So a right-wing liar posts lies and you repeat them. You are a liar.
Okay, so Adam, you're just Adam.
Liar.
Oh, that's ridiculous. How dare you? How dare you?
Yes,
I hit that. How dare you? How dare you, Adam, come on this airwaves and utter that ugly word? You know the rules. You say you don't listen to corporate media, but you know the rules. How dare you come on here and behave like that? Yeah, hang up. I can see you hang up. That's how weak you are. How awful are you at sitting here and defending your position? He brought up something about the New York Post, and your thing to do is to go after the messenger. You didn't deflect. You didn't argue. You didn't argue the point. You didn't argue the fact, Adam. You turned around and said, I don't have to listen because that thing says this. How horrible are you? You came in here and said you were going to represent the left. Every single leftist that listens to this show every morning is disappointed in how piss poor you are this morning. That is ridiculous. Do better. We will give you space on this show if you want to come on here and talk about left-wing things. That's fine. That's how we roll. We're not like those other shows. But you are going to have to behave like an adult You are not going to use those words. And if you're going to engage my partner on this show, you're going to do it at an intellectual level that is credible. You're not going to sit here and play those games about, well, I'm going to discount what he's saying because I don't like the source. Be better. Deal with what they said. You can say, Adam, that's a critique or an inference made by the New York Post because they are trying to color the perception of what he said. That could be a fair critique. But coming out and saying, liar, liar, pants on fire, and then dropping the F-bomb, do better.
All
you
right.
are a clown.
You got Bill going this morning.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's always a wild one on this show, and we're going to talk to Scott Wilder here in just a second.
Apologize about that, Scott. We're not going to deal with you.
Christians and Jews.
You're not going to say the F word.
Now it's time for News and Comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, News and Comment.
Hey, good morning. Just another Tuesday on the Jeff and Billy Show. 62 and sunny in Denver, expecting a high of 92 today. News is presented by International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. Now is the time to stand with Israel. Call 800-301-1188. That's 800-301-1188. Or go to 710knus.com and click on the big red Stand with Israel banner at the top of the page. Our top story.
Good morning. We're going out to Alligator Alcatraz. It's the East Coast version, and it should be very exciting, very good. Worked very hard on it with Ron and everybody, and I think it's going to be great. And then I'll be back here fighting for the bill, and I hear it's going okay. We'll move it along. But we'll be back here pretty early.
Discussions continue this morning in the Senate, where lawmakers have been working more than 20 hours on 47's one big, beautiful bill. Republican senators are working to resolve differences over cuts to Medicaid and other measures that would be needed to fund the bill's tax cuts. If it passes the Senate, the bill would have to go back to the House, where votes are scheduled tomorrow. DJT will visit Florida's Alligator Alcatraz this morning for the grand opening. The detention facility for illegal immigrants was built in the Everglades near Miami-Dade County. 47 will carry out the largest illegal immigration deportation operation in history. Here's Border Czar Tom Homan.
You can escape, try to escape, but it's not a real good idea. I mean, that just adds a stronger message to the whole world that you can't enter this country legally. It's a crime. If we catch you, you're going to be detained, you're going to be deported, and detention is going to be in places like Alligator Alcatraz and El Salvador and other countries that aren't so friendly. So we're going to do everything we can to send a strong message. It's not okay to break the laws of this country. We're going to hold you accountable.
And if you think about leaving or escaping, the swamp is nasty and hot and humid, sticky, and then you'll meet the alligators and all the snakes that Billy loves. The Boulder DA's office says terrorist Mohammed Solomon is now facing murder charges, including extreme indifference. Boulder Jewish Community Center said Monday that one of the victims, Karen Diamond, passed away Wednesday from severe injuries. She was 82 years old. Solomon is facing state charges in his next scheduled appearance in 2 weeks. Aurora police say the two fatal stabbings on Sunday are likely connected. According to 9 News, Denver police believe Ricky Roybal Smith is responsible for both incidents. He's also facing new accusations after allegedly murdering his cellmate Monday while in jail. Roybal Smith was incarcerated for DUI and other related offenses and was previously out on parole for multiple felonies in Arapahoe County. He's currently being held without bond and scheduled to appear in court today in connection with the cellmate's death. Anti-Trump protests are being organized across the country this July 4th weekend. They just never stop. Just go grill a burger or something. Thank God that you live in America. It's the Free America Weekend being organized by the Grassroots Women's March, founded in 2017 after DJT's first election win. Some 170 events are planned. Oh, goody. I can't wait for that. Day 2 of jury deliberations in the Sean Combs, who calls himself Diddy trial, starts soon. Combs has spent the last 6 weeks on trial as he faces sex trafficking, of course, and racketeering charges. He has pleaded not guilty and faces life in prison if convicted. All right, Nuggets trade Michael Porter Jr. and the 2032 first-round pick for Cam Johnson, and they bring back Bruce Brown Jr. The Astros at Coors tonight to take on the Rockies, and the WNBA expanding to 18 teams. They can thank Caitlin Clark for that. 58 in Golden, 61 in Aurora, 62 in Denver, and now the Jeff and Billy Show continues. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Partly cloudy skies for early Tuesday. We'll start off in the upper 50s, and with sunshine, we'll get back to the upper 80s for highs Tuesday. Mostly sunny, still going to run a slight chance for afternoon showers, and partly cloudy, low 60s Tuesday night. Expect readings to hit the low 90s Wednesday and even for Thursday. For the 4th of July holiday, thunderstorms will be scattered with cloudy skies. Weather brought to you by Colorado's Best Roofing, reminding you to protect your home from the harsh Colorado weather. Schedule your free no-obligation roof inspection at roofingcolorado.com. Meteorologist Don Watzel in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Well, I told Scott Wilder when we were going to have him on that we're a right-left center show where people from all political angles get to call in.
Yeah, they just don't get to curse.
Scott's got to deal with the most progressive guy right before him. He's a good sport. Glad to have him on. Scott Wilder with the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews joining us this morning. Good morning, Scott.
The sick, the elderly, the children, the widows, the Holocaust survivors. If we can do something to help them, no matter where we stand on a political issue, isn't it good to do it? And I believe it is, and that's what the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews has been doing since 1979, making a difference, standing, being on the ground there in what some call the Holy Land, what many call the Holy Land, and what some just call Israel. And so if you want to join us in standing with Israel, I was thinking about being with you guys today and trying to figure out, because somebody might reasonably wonder, well, what about the ceasefire? I mean, there's a ceasefire, right? So the bombs aren't coming in like right now. Can I just say, when is the best time to plant a tree? 15 years ago, right?
That's right.
15 years ago. I mean, you can't sit under the shade of a tree that wasn't planted. The time to put these bomb shelters in place is now. It's before they're needed. When you have damage that's being done to roads, damage being done to grocery stores, damage being done to hospitals, the need is great right now. And so if we have a brief moment, and Lord willing, it's going to last a long time, the ceasefire, but as long as it's lasting, let's take advantage of this and make sure we're doing what we can do to get blankets, to get food, to get help to families in Israel. And so the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews is doing that with our great friends at 710 KNUS. Go to 710knus.com, and you'll see where to click at the top of the page. It's a red banner, I think. There's a red bar or something there on the page at KNUS. It's 710knus.com. Or here's the phone number. Pretty easy phone number to remember. It's an 800 number, so that's easy. 301-1188. 301-1188. So 800-301-1188. And look, a gift of any amount is going to make a big difference. Those bomb shelters, when you've seen these, you have 15 seconds once that last red alert comes out. You probably have seen this, that 15 seconds to find shelter. Now, if you're a child waiting for a school bus, if you're a child on the monkey bars or on the slide or on the merry-go-round or on the teeter-totter, and that red alert goes off, you literally have 15 seconds to find shelter. So what IFCJ has done, what the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, also known as the Fellowship, has done is place these mobile bomb shelters very close to school bus stops. I can't imagine what it'd be like to be a little kid, 8 years old, 9 years old, with that sword of Damocles hanging over my head, no matter where I am, if I'm eating my breakfast, if I'm eating my lunch, if I'm walking the dog, if I'm in class, if I'm asleep, if that sound goes off, I always have to be ready to find shelter. So one of the great things, we placed 130 of these mobile bomb shelters recently right near school bus stops. So and those cost $15,000, and I'm not suggesting maybe somebody could do that, but if we all did a little bit, if you give like $10 toward it, or $20 or $50 a month, or $45 or $90, or really any amount, you're going to make possible those mobile bomb shelters, along with the emergency essentials we talked about, whether it's food or clothing or the comfort. My mom is 91 years old. I don't know if you've ever done any kind of volunteer work with the elderly, like maybe you do Meals on Wheels or something like that. When you go do that, the food is important, but it's more than that. My mom's neighbor, they're about to move. Now, they're young, and they have a little kid. And so they brought my mom flowers, because my mom's been a neighbor there for a long, long time. Brought her flowers. They came in and sat with her and gave her flowers. And the little girl had drawn her some pictures, some different things, colored them in. And my mom, liked the flowers, and she liked the drawings. But you know what she loved? She loved the company. She loved the comfort. And if you've ever delivered a meal to a person on a holiday, so a shut-in, things like that, what they want is just sit down for a second, spend time. We talk to men and women, particularly women that are Holocaust survivors, and with tears in their eyes, they say, no one ever knocks on that door. When you knocked on that door to bring those blankets, when you knocked on that door to bring that food box, when you knocked on that door, that's the first time anyone's knocked on that door in a long, long time. So, it is, bringing those vital things, but also bringing comfort, literally putting an arm around the shoulder. I would just say, especially here on Independence Day week, it's a great time to stand with Israel. When you look at what happened recently, 550 missiles that Iran fired, more than 3,000 injured, more than 1,000 drones fired at Israel in the recent conflict. We can stand for Israel today. We can stand with Israel today, and we invite you to do it. It's so easy to do, and the phone number again is 800-301-1188, 800-301-1188, or click on that IFCJ banner or that red bar there if it's at the top of the page at 710knus.com.
Scott, that is just fantastic. It's fantastic. That's Scott Wilder, International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, partnering with 710 KNUS to raise support for our friends in Israel. Go to 710knus.com and then click at the banner, Stand with Israel, right there at the top. I just did it. Wife and I donating $150 right now to the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. And Scott, I'm going to tell you why I do it. I spent 4 days with the Palestinian protesters at the DNC in Chicago and talking with them, and they made it very clear that in their mind, what they hope to achieve is Islamic dominance over the entire world. And Israel is step one. In their effort to do so. You need to understand why Iran hates Israel and funds Hamas and funds Hezbollah is because they want to wipe Jews off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
So you have to understand that global context, that the tip of the spear is literally our friends in Israel protecting Western civilization. But two, I've got a lot of friends, Scott, that are Jewish. And after October 7th, and after all the anti-Semitism they've faced on college campuses, and probably the worst anti-Semitism that's taken place in American history right now, they tell me, Jeff, I sure appreciate when Christians stand up and make it known that they support their Jewish friends. Yeah. They take it to heart when we do this, and I think it's critical for Christians to be very public in light of all this anti-Semitism, in light of all the attacks taking place in the Middle East, to publicly declare their support for Israel and their Jewish friends. That's why we're willing to donate and support them, Scott.
Well, we sure appreciate that. And let me just say, I've been to many Muslim countries. I've been around the world about 27, 28 times. Been to Africa, some Muslim countries in Africa, 14 times. Listen, what you said is true. When first they come for the people that worship on Saturday, and then they come for the people that worship on Sunday. I mean, that's really what we're seeing, the big Satan, little Satan, that rhetoric we hear again and again and again. And so, yeah, it is existential. I know it's an overused word, but it is an existential threat for the Jewish people. If we could go back in time to the 1930s, and we could understand there was an opportunity to stand for the people that were being killed, would we do it? I hope the answer to that is yes. The single greatest loss of Jewish life in history, other than the Holocaust, happened on October 7th, 2023. And that is the latest iteration of this that is going on between these people. It is a conflict that goes back millennia, as I'm sure you know. Listeners know. But here's the thing. No matter all those things, look, it is more than coincidental, I think, that we live here. We are safe. Nobody should give out of guilt, but I say we give out of gratitude. I mean, if it's just even a roll of the dice, what is the chance I would be born here and not anywhere else in the world where there's great risk? I don't know. I mean, personally, I believe it's providential. It's not coincidental that I'm born here. So I see it as a blessing. And I think we're blessed to bless. That's why. I think it's not just about receiving it. It's about being a conduit through which they flow to other people. And that's what we're doing today with KNUS.
That's exactly right. That voice you're hearing is Scott Wilder. He's with the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. You can donate right now. We are partnering with them at 710knus.com. Click the Stand With Israel at the very top or call 800-301-1188. 800-301-1188. Now, Scott, I don't know if you've ever seen that IDF video that was produced on the October 7th
I have.
attack. It is gut-wrenching.
It is.
And you may remember this scene, but with the two little boys, that the dad is trying to rush into the bomb shelter, and then these boys it's Saturday morning, they're in their underwear. Like all of our boys are when they wake up Saturday morning, watching cartoons, all that.
Yep.
That was so hard to see, the girls that were attacked, the teenage girls. What you all are raising money to do is to protect innocent life. Talk about where the resources are going to support and protect these young people that are involved in this conflict.
Well, you should know that the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, we provide things like armored vehicles for emergency responders, flak jackets, mention the bomb shelters, the mobile bomb shelters that we talked about, but also just simple things, the needed things like food and water, and what the elderly need, what the sick need, Holocaust survivors need, medicine, rides to hospitals. Some very practical things are also what IFCJ is all about. It's the largest humanitarian organization on the ground in Israel. And today you don't have to go there. You don't have to be at risk. You don't have to do anything really hard. Just call the number and say, hey, I'm going to be a part of today. Here's $50, $100, whatever the number is, maybe a monthly gift. Sometimes, I got it now, I want to give it now. Like if you have like a bonus or whatever in your job and you say, I got a little bit more, I'll do $100 or whatever. And sometimes you don't want to do it that way. You want it to be more sort of like a part of who you are. Just it's part of who I am. I do it every month, a small amount over a longer period of time. I do that in my life. Got a couple of things like that. So maybe you want to do that, a monthly gift of $30. That's less than $1 a day. You'd hardly know that it's even gone. But the main thing is, take seriously what happened October 7th, 2023. And take seriously the hugest loss of life in a single day of Jewish life since the Holocaust. I mean, what happened on October 7th, 2023 is Israel's 9/11. And that's what it is. That's how important it is. If you talk to people that live there, everything relates back to where were they when on October 7th. You heard the story of the Bibas family. You heard the story of Yarden Bibas, the dad, who lost his wife and his 2 young sons. The great work that Yael Eckstein and the great folks with IFCJ, the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, we call it the Fellowship, on the ground in Israel. I'm honored and humbled to know that and a little embarrassed to know that I only have to give. That's it. Just a couple of bucks from me, or $100 from me, or $1,000 from me. Or if you're so inclined and been so blessed in your life and you want to provide one of those mobile bomb shelters, a $15,000 one-time gift, I know it's not me, but you never know. It can provide enough to help provide a bomb shelter, protecting kids while we can get those in place before there's a need next time. Think of it as planting a tree so that the shade is going to be there when the shade is needed. In this case, it's the shade and the protection, not from the sun, but the protection from that which could certainly kill in missiles and bombs and bullets. So today, it's just a good day to do it. We wish everybody a happy Independence Day. Happy July 4th. Glad we're all getting, or many of us are getting, a short work week. Let's do something. It's just good to do good. It's just good to do something good. And today you have a chance to join us and make a big difference. Even if you can't do everything for everybody, you can do quite a bit for somebody today, for a child today, when you call the number or go online. And thanks.
That's Scott Wilder, International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. Go to 710knus.com, click Stand with Israel right at the top there, or give them a call at 800-301-1188, 800-301-1188. A few more questions for you, Scott, real quick. What are you hearing from folks that the ceasefire is in place? There are some missiles going back and forth, but as they're taking this moment to take a breath, to rebuild, what are you hearing from Jews on the ground about where this conflict is and what they need right now?
Well, I think most on the ground, to answer your question very specifically, concisely, there's always sort of Damocles. There's always a belief that there's going to be a next time. There's going to be a next time. And you got to remember, there are really 2 things here. I mean, one was what happened with Hamas, and then one was directly Iran, right? So you have really 2 things. Now, Iran would say, well, we did it because you hit me back. We hit you back. But I understand. But we know that Hamas, when you see Hamas or Hezbollah or the Houthis, when you see that, what do you hear? Iran. Iran funds that. Iran is behind that. So we know it's the same thing. The point is, I think we're close. And to speak to your question, those on the ground are very hopeful about the hostages that remain, whether they're hostages who have died and we get the bodies back, or the very few living hostages that can be returned to Israel. We hope and pray that will happen. But we still have problems, obviously. I say Israel still has problems with in the Gaza Strip with Hamas, and therefore always has problems with Iran. So I think the real it's a bit of nervousness on the ground, and I think all the more reason that we should grab the opportunity now and say, while there is a moment to breathe, while there is a ceasefire that is not being blown up, no pun intended, maybe now is the time to give. Let's make sure that we get everything in that we can, all the food that we can get in that we can, all the water that we can get in, all the blankets that we can get in, all the care for Holocaust survivors that are living in Israel that we can, all the effort we can get toward the building of more bomb shelters and armored vehicles and flak jackets. Now is the time to do it. So, when you can't do it, when the bombs are falling, it's too late to get those bomb shelters in place and the armored vehicles in place and the flak jackets delivered. Now is the time to do it. So we see this as an opportunity to act right now so that, Lord willing, we won't need it. But if the past is any prologue, right. It's going to happen again. And when it does, we want to make sure we've done all that we can do. And when you see it happening in the news, wouldn't it be nice to know, you know what? There was that brief moment where everybody was exhaling a little bit. And that's the moment we did something, and I did it too. So we hope you'll join us today.
That's Scott Wilder with the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. You can donate by going to 710knus.com, and at the top you'll see a banner there that says Stand with Israel, or give them a call at 800-301-1188, 800-301-1188. I want to bring this up real quick, Scott, and then I'll let you go. If you look at the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, oftentimes when you want to give, you want to make sure it's a reputable organization. Listen to this here. They are part of the Better Business Bureau Wise Giving Alliance, an accredited charity. They have platinum transparency by GuideStar, 4 stars by Charity Navigator. They're part of the Nonprofit Times Best Place to Work in 2025. They're one of America's top 100 charities, according to Forbes. They are a 2024 top-rated nonprofit. This is gold standard. You know the money's going to go to the people that need it. The International Fellowship of Christians and Jews.
Well, I think that's great to have you share all that. I think it's really important. I think when you see something bad going on, I think most people really have 2 questions. What can I do, and who can I trust? I mean, I really want to do something, but I want to make sure it's going to get there. Who's really on the ground doing this? Who can I trust? And so we thank you for that kind word. And Charity Navigator is always a good third-party observer for nonprofits, NGOs, ministries, charities. You can look up. You might be surprised about some of the ones that you give to where they rank, but we're happy to have that 4-star rating. We're just excited for the chance to reach out. I want to also say one more thing. When a gift is given, like you're giving today, I want you to know there's no shying away from explaining who gave this and why someone gave it. So I don't want you to think, it is the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. So when you're delivering these things to hungry people that live in Israel who happen to be Jewish, don't think for a second they're not being told Christians in America are praying for you. Christians in Colorado have provided this for you. Americans are providing this. So don't think it just kind of goes into the ethos and then it kind of comes down, sprinkles down as something else. No, it doesn't. There's no embarrassment. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, listen, you may have a different faith, but here's what Christians and Jews alike know. Children shouldn't have to suffer like this. Elderly shouldn't have to suffer like this. Nobody should have to suffer like this if we can help. And that's what the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews is doing today, and we give you the opportunity to join us in doing that.
That's Scott Wilder with the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. Nicole and I, my wife and I, donating along with 710 KNUS. Great organization, worth supporting. Go to 710knus.com. Click on the banner at the top, Stand with Israel, and I'll give you the phone number one more time, 800-301-1188. That's 800-301-1188. Scott, thank you so much for taking time to join the Jeff and Bill Show.
Yes, thank you.
Great pleasure, guys, and stay on that dump button just in case for whatever is to come.
Oh, yes. The big red one on this side of the studio. Yeah. Giant red one.
A lot of fun, Scott. Thank you again so
much,
my
much.
friend.
You bet.
All right, we'll continue. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Great conversation with Scott Wilder with the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. 710 KNUS has partnered to support them. And I really do want to say this. I think it's important for Christians to understand this because I've spoken with my Jewish friends since October 7th and all the anti-Semitism that's taking place on college campuses, that when Christians stand up and say, we're not going to allow this to happen, you're not going to treat our Jewish neighbors and our friends and our colleagues like this, that's unacceptable. You're not going to chant from the river to the sea. You're not going to call for a global intifada. That it becomes really important for our Jewish friends and neighbors because they do feel alone out there at this point. So supporting them with a donation, go to 710knus.com. At the very top, you'll see Stand With Israel. Click there. This is important, and I'm glad we're partnering with them.
And one of the things that Scott brought up, and it was really in the beginning of the conversation when he talked about some of this funds, does go to elderly and the sick and people that have been impacted just based on food deliveries and things that are there, but also those mobile bomb shelters. And again, he talked about $15,000 to build one, but think about the impact. Again, we're not asking you, as he outlined, we're not asking you to get 15 grand, but we're saying some of your money goes to build things like that because there are people that are trying to live their lives and go about the regular routine, and they need to be able to find a place to be safe at a moment's notice because of what is going on in the Middle East. And these mobile bomb shelters are really a lifesaver. And again, as he talked about, they put them near schools. They put them in areas in which if there is some sort of an attack or an event, it takes too long to get to the bomb shelter where it's built, because normally those are built in communities and homes. So this is out in other areas. So it is really about saving lives and helping people get back to trying to live at least as close as they can their regular lives. So yeah, this is very important. If you can, call 800-301-1188. We know that your own budget can be a little tight, but if you have any extra pennies that you can scrape together and you feel called to by God, 800-301-1188. You can also find the IFCJ banner at 710knus.com.
Let's go to the phone lines. Herb, Denver. Good morning, Herb. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Good morning. Well, you guys know me. I'm your local Jewish Zionist, conservative, Republican, libertarian.
So it's your fault you're saying, yes.
That's why we love you. That's why we love you.
Yes.
So and my father was a Holocaust survivor.
Oh, wow.
So I like to echo everything the gentleman said. I mean, thank you. I mean, for all you do. I mean, sometimes we do feel alone here. And it's great that our Christian brothers are supporting us. And not just that, speaking out against this hate. And I want to say something. It's not just a good thing to give. It's actually in the Bible. It's a commandment to give what in Hebrew it's called tzedakah, charitable kindness. It's not just charity. It's a kindness. So.
Yeah,
you're
true.
Exactly right, Herb.
Herb, I got a question for you. Now, growing up, knowing what your dad went through, what is going through your mind when you have gone through a time in our society where what happened post-World War II was, kind of a vow that we would never let that happen. We allowed the Israel state to be created and allowed it to thrive and provided protection. But now you are seeing a shift inside of society, especially inside of America, where you have a lot of people giving voice to groups and organizations that would want the Jewish people wiped off the planet. What's it like for you personally, seeing it go from and your father going from the end of World War II and how the Nazis and the Axis forces viewed the Jews to now you had your own country and protected to now there are people in one of the countries that helped free the Jews chanting for their destruction. What's that like?
Well, it's terrible. Like we said, it happened, a second Holocaust.
Yeah.
And of course, my opinion is this happened because of the leftist Democrats. They let it happen. They encouraged it. And even our fellow Americans didn't stand up and say something. Stop it, nip it in the bud. And now it's after the fact, and now we just have to work a little harder. Of course, it's terrible.
That's a fair critique. I'm not sure I would blame all the leftists like you do, but it is a fair critique because I think what's most true in that statement is the idea of people not standing up to say that it is wrong. I had a discussion recently. This is the last 24 hours, man. This is really weird. Last 24 hours, had a discussion with a friend of mine that was down at Pride on Saturday. And there were some Palestinian protesters down there that were talking about and talking against Israel, and they were mad. Coming to see, it seems they were more mad about some of the corporate influence down there. But I challenged my friend as to whether or not they spoke up. And they were like, well, what? And I said, I understand that if you're worried about the treatment of the innocents in Gaza and you're worried about that, I understand why inside of the LGBTQ community you can find support for those individuals because you feel they're persecuted. But you also have to understand that by allowing that speech, you are giving air to people that would also destroy you. And so there's time and a place, and maybe people that are down there protesting and chanting for free Palestine in that location, speaking up and letting them know that, yes, we agree that there is something there that can be done, but your message of from the river to the sea is not allowed and needs to be confronted. And the person that was that was an ally of the LGBTQ community was down there was like, I didn't think of it that way. They looked at it as just a support for a persecuted community. They're looking at the innocents in Gaza, and they didn't go the other step to encapsulate and understand exactly what it meant if those people they were supporting turned around and gained power. And they said, yeah, maybe some of us should have spoken up and should have pushed back. Not saying that we disagree and we agree with how the innocent children are being treated in Gaza, but more that your statement about Palestine and from the river to the sea is not allowed, because it does mean, the execution and extinction of all the people down there at Pride on Saturday. It was an interesting conversation, my friend. It was really interesting.
And they don't realize that they, as a LGBTQ person, if they went to Gaza or anywhere in the Middle Eastern country, they would be persecuted. That's not even allowed in their culture.
Yeah.
So they're hypocritical. It makes no sense.
Yeah, it's a matter of I was talking to them about the idea of I understand the support, but understand there should be guardrails, because if the situations were flipped and it was a large Palestinian gathering and the LGBTQ group showed up there and was protesting for their rights, they would not receive the same warm welcome. They would not. Those protesters would be treated entirely differently. Just remind yourself of that and keep that in mind. You can have empathy without support. You can have empathy without buying into some of the horrible things that they are saying and they're advocating for.
Herb, Denver,
thanks,
I sure
man.
appreciate the call.
You.
Thanks so much. Herb's phone line will be open 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line 720-819-5115. Herb, I always appreciate you calling in, and thank you for connecting with us. We'll continue. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We're helping raise support for the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews this hour. You can go to 710knus.com, and at the top there, click Stand with Israel. Click right there, or give them a call at 800-301-1188, 800-301-1188. Nicole and I are proud to support the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, providing mobile bomb shelters, providing first aid kits, even providing armored vehicles so people can get around. Israel really is a remarkable country. I encourage you to go visit it sometime. Very cool, very safe. And when you think about what they have to balance, like in Jerusalem, where you literally have some of the most holy sites for Muslims blocks away from the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which is where Jesus was crucified and buried, right next to the Western Wall, where Jews pray for that's the last remaining wall of the temple, the second temple there under David. Yeah, I mean, it's remarkable that they can hold it all together, have a Western-style democracy, a free market economy. Doesn't take place anywhere else. So support our Jewish friends.
Yeah, and while there is a ceasefire going on right now, you understand how tenuous the ceasefires are. You've been around long enough to see those be declared and then evaporate in numerous locations around the planet. And you and I both know that Iran doesn't really want a ceasefire. They don't really want the fighting to stop. They are just cornered in having a ceasefire because they are at one of their weakest points ever in modern history as far as influence. Their buddies in Syria have fallen. The Hezbollah, Hamas, toothless at the point for most parts. The Houthis still, causing problems, but Israel and the U.S. controlling them. So this ceasefire could evaporate at any point, but now, as our guest earlier said, is the best time to plant a tree is 15 years ago. So now is the best time to give so they can plan for the next possible attack or just support the people that were harmed or injured in the last attack. More than 3,000 of those are out there. So call 800-301-1188, 800-301-1188, or just go to 710knus.com. 710knus.com. There is the banner in red, the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, right there at the top. Click on it. Everything will be taken care of. That's all you got to do. Visit us at 710knus.com or call 800-301-1188. That number again, 800-301-1188.
Yeah, but in the next hour, Aaron Lee's going to join us, the founder of Protect Kids Colorado, because there's a certain hospital in Colorado that's getting some heat from the feds. FBI launching probes into 3 children's hospitals, including Children's Hospital of Colorado, for alleged genital mutilation of minors. Aaron Lee's going to talk to us more about it. You're not going to want to miss this conversation. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.